Hey guys, I'm Prodigy from Kilo23, back again today with some parts from AirsoftPeak.com. We are continuing with the upgrading of my ANK SR25. We do have an SHS M140 spring we are installing today in the gearbox, so let's get right down to it. Now in the previous episode we installed the military action piston head, and cylinder in my SR25. This episode will be installing an SHS M140 spring. Alright, our stock spring here is about an M130 power. I find this comes in most A&K guns. Now this is our SHS M140 spring. M140 stands for 140 meters per second. I find this is not very accurate, even though this is tested this way in a stock Marui gun when they first made all these numbers or whatever. 140 meters per second tends to get you about 460 to 480 FPS depending. Now this is going to vary depending on your air seal and your hop up, the air seal and your gearbox, all kinds of different things. So it's not a very accurate number once you really start getting into tech work. One thing I did like is that the ends of the spring here are both flattened out, so there really isn't any chance of these getting caught in your bearings. I have had springs in the past that weren't smoothed down like this. I actually got stuck in the bearings and really screwed things up. Now something I found very interesting, the image they show on AirsoftPeak.com of this spring shows that it is a non-linear spring, so it's got tightly coiled portions of the spring, giving it that 140 spring pitch. This is actually a linear spring. It's actually a very tightly coiled spring, as you can see, and it's completely linear, which is very interesting. Now to insert the spring and spring guide into your gun, you will need a rod of some kind. I've been using this a long time and it's very easy to use. Just a long hex key screwdriver with a spacer here. Just slide your spring onto the spring guide. Doesn't require lubricant or anything. Now this is the portion everyone seems to have trouble with, is closing their gearbox. Having a rod like this really helps, especially when you can push your cylinder and your piston down like this so it all stays put. So you want to compress your spring just like this and put your shell back together like so, making sure that everything fits and feeds properly in there. Your wiring, your cutoff lever here, all your gears, your anti-reversal latch. This does take practice. You might not get it your first time. Once that's all finished up, you will have all your screws. Just hold your gearbox tight and go ahead and put your screws in. A lot of people like to use Loctite on the screw threads to make sure they don't come unscrewed while you're shooting. Now let's just do a quick test shoot to make sure everything works properly. Now I'll go ahead and reassemble the gun and we can chrono this with the stock hop-up unit and barrel. Only time will tell if the SHS M140 spring will be super durable or not. Some springs I've actually had die very fast and will decrease FPS. Others last a very, very long time at a very consistent FPS. So we'll just have to see. As far as first impressions, I feel like it's going to be a good long-term product. Alright, we were using 0.3 grams in the testing, so that shooting about 360 feet per second with 0.3s on the 140 spring. It equates to about roughly 440, 450 with 2s, which is okay. Right now we do have a short barrel in the gun. It is the stock hop-up and barrel. Gets a pretty good air seal, but with an M4 length barrel and that massive cylinder, really losing a lot of speed. So in the next episode we are going to install the new SHS hop-up chamber. It's full metal, and the military action 550mm 6.03 barrel. That should get the FPS up quite a bit. So stay tuned, don't miss this next one.